My heart beats to the rhythm of TV. It is the only job I've ever known. And what's more amazing is this career. I have traveled the world from London to Berlin, from Sao Paulo to Moscow, covering a subject that I love, the world of entertainment.
Is it because she won an Oscar or because she's unbelievably hot? He goes, hot.
Fresh Prince Day.
I know you know, I be trying to mix it up a little bit, man.
Meryl Streep is. How would you finish the sentence?
A little heavy.
I don't know, but the day seemed kind of high.
What is that? What got you in that mode?
I think, like you say, having that sort of positive attitude, you know, you do kind of create your own reality, you know, as you go through life more than you think.
I understand, former Batman. I am a superhero of positivity, Halloween 2015. But it did not come easy. Over 2 decades ago, my life changed. I was diagnosed with the pigment disease vitiligo, and my color started to leave. I thought my job would be over as well, and no matter what treatment I tried, my pigment continued to go. At one point, I was completely white, no pigment at all.
Okay, my plan is simple.
Nothing was simple. Who is a black man that isn't black? And with this disease, pigment comes and goes. But eventually, I defined myself and found my way. It took years of patience, persistence, and positivity, along with a commitment to share on television, in person, on a TED Talk, and in a book. And along the way, I got a few surprises.
So I'm sitting across from Charlize, freaked out because she just said you read my book.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just
And I
touches
was
my heart.
incredibly moved by it, and I was telling you, thank you for writing it, and that it changed a lot of people's lives in my life. I gave it to a lot of people for a Christmas present.
Do you know people who have?
Yeah,
what I have?
vitiligo. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
It's so tough to.
And
deal with
I
sometimes.
think your book is so surpassed. Just, I think, you know, it's a great educational tool to understand it, but I think it so surpasses. It really is about more than just that. And
It is. It's about getting over
that we have,
things and
yes,
acceptance
exactly.
and loving and moving on.
And you did a great job with that.
You're gonna make me cry. Wait a minute. It's Mad Max. It's a tough movie.
Keep that up, by the way. Keep that up.
I will, Charlize. There are keys to being different, and understanding them and making them work for you isn't an easy choice, but it can be the most rewarding. So who am I? I'm a vitiligo spokesman.
Everybody say diversity.
I'm a Diversity First graduate. I'm a television journalist and movie critic. I'm a father. I am.
And move forward. All we want is love. It breathes for us. It feeds us, even though we don't really know it all. We want is love.
Hi, my name's Jake Mavity. I'm the director and co-writer of Calico, a short film about a young schoolgirl with vitiligo who goes on a unlikely adventure with a talking goldfish. It's a story which comes from the heart. I have vitiligo myself, and the emotional truth in it is what I felt when I was 13 and felt very uncomfortable with myself and my own body, and there was very little representation of vitiligo on screen back then. I really wanted someone with vitiligo to play our hero character, Laurie. Took 4 years to find Malaysia Newland, and it's her first ever acting role. She's absolutely brilliant in it. I'm so proud of her. She really brought the character to life. And Calico is out on World Vitiligo Day. Please make sure you watch it. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
sis. Oi, I'm talking to you. What? You still don't want to swim? You got something to hide? We don't want you contaminating the waters anyway. Listen, your face, it offends me. Look at what you're doing. She's such a neat. Why does she even try? Why is she here? Gross. I can't imagine looking like that still. That's cute.
Lolly Gardner? This is your own time you're wasting, young lady, not mine. Now, I won't repeat myself again. Remove your makeup at once.
But it's camouflage, miss.
This is a school, not some bordello in the Wild West. Off now. The problem with your generation is you're all soft. Depression this, anxiety that. I'm feeling a bit sad this morning. You need to take a stand. Otherwise, your future prospects will disappear faster than a fart in a tornado.
I think what Miss Hammond is trying to say is we're a little concerned about your performance.
If it was just Mr. Burke's swimming classes that you were missing, I wouldn't care. But the name Laurie Gardner just keeps worming its way into my ear hole.
I mean, you haven't made it to a single one of my classes. They're really not that bad, you know. Some of the kids say they're actually pretty sick. That's still a thing, right, isn't it? Like, sick, bro? Look, kids are gonna be curious. They're gonna ask questions. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But really, I bet they wish they were different too. Not, I mean, different per se, just, quirky looking.
You are quite literally dropping an atomic bomb on your future. Oh, you find that amusing, do you? 500 lines before the end of lunch. I will not spaff my entire life away by missing swimming lessons. Any questions?
Is that your fish, miss?
You are sailing on the good ship Last Chance, and there is an iceberg on the horizon. Change tack sharpish, or you will find yourself alone in very cold waters, sinking without trace.
Sorry, I missed your call, Donnie. School hours are not the best time. I thought we agreed we weren't going to do that anymore. I felt a bit like a third wheel.
Gosh, that sounds wildly unhygienic.
Hey, snap out of it, two legs. Try being stuck in here. In the tank, genius. You gotta get me out of here. I'm serious, if I smack my face against this invisible wall one more time, I swear that... What, you ain't got time for a speaking goldfish, nah? Man, that is some jaded business right there. Who hurt you?
Leave me alone. I can't help you.
Listen, I'm joking, but okay, so you can actually talk. Right now, you are killing my potential. Goldfish can only grow as big as a tank we're in. If I'm stuck in here forever, I'm gonna stay small forever. Think on that, yeah?
I can't carry that tank.
Scoop me out then. Use that brain of yours.
And take you where?
Nearest water source, come on. Steady. precious cargo on board.
Shit. I'm so sorry.
I can't breathe. Murderers!
Stay still. Oh my days, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
Oh yeah. Smashed it, mate. Oh, you checking me out, yeah? Like what you see?
No, honest, he's just chatting shit.
No, he's not. Look at it, look.
Babe, it's normal. Totally normal.
I look like a fucking anteater. I'm going to Turkey to get it fixed.
Come on, Dara.
Why did he say that? He said he liked me. Oh! Fuck's sake.
Dara, wait.
A drama. So, what's the plan?
Ta-da.
Are you mad?
It's the nearest water source.
This ain't no freshwater source. What do you expect's gonna happen?
I don't know, I flush you down and you, like, swim into the sea or something?
Well, let's see how that goes down. Oh, I didn't think she was actually gonna do that. Oh, no. Is that Sandra? I thought they put you on a farm somewhere. Oh, God, it can't get worse than this. It can't get worse than this. What? And that's before I get murked by the sewage works. Plus, the sea would kill me instantly, obviously.
Why?
Why? Come on, think. What kind of fish are goldfish?
Stupid?
Only an arrogant human would call a chatting fish dumb. I got a degree. Nah, goldfish are carp, innit? Bruv, I'm a freshwater fish. How'd you not learn this shit at school?
You don't look like a goldfish.
Excuse me?
You're not even fully orange.
Exactly. I'm a calico. Bask in my glory. You think I just want to be standard? No way. This is me. Custom paintwork business. Now, get me to that sweet fresh water.
Oh! Laurie Gardner, what have I told you about running in the corridor?
Only do it if there's a fire.
Good. Aren't you supposed to be in detention? What are you doing gallivanting about?
Just going to the toilet, sir.
Wait, my wife's going to think I hung up on her.
Say it was an accident.
Oh, yeah. But it was so simple, hey? No, Laurie. We're in a difficult place right now. Relationships, they're a challenging construct. We try and keep things fresh, but even if you trust the person, you know, consent is vital. I just think introducing Orlando, that's a Reiki healer, into things, you know? It's, feels like a bit much. Speak of the devil. Get back to detention, Laurie, and yeah, good, stay hydrated. Sorry, darling. What? No, I don't want to start an OnlyFans.
I'm not letting you leave early just because you've got the waterworks on.
But miss!
Christ, Tara. Stop being such a snowflake. Some Weasley boy has pulled your string like a tampon and you're gushing all over the place. Oh, that's disgusting. Honestly, Dara, I've seen more backbone on a fish finger sandwich.
For doing this, Two Legs.
Two Legs? My name's Laurie.
Laurie? That's what a posh girl call a chestnut pony, bruv.
What are you called then? Finn Diesel?
Are you serious?
James Bond?
Ugh.
Frank Ocean?
Nah, ain't got no name. No need.
You've got to be called something. Didn't you say something about Calico?
You know what? I actually quite like that. Calico.
You've gone very quiet.
Saad says, give me one good reason, yeah, why I should stick this hook in your gills.
Okay, what are you doing right now?
Got to. Oxygen. Oxygen.
Stop it, you're freaking me out.
Oxygen. Lead. Breathe. Please.
Calico?
Quick.
Oh my god.
Oh, you mad? I could have killed you.
Would a mad person be trying to save this talking fish?
Oh.
Hold on, Calico, hold on. Stay with me, Calico. Calico? Calico! Talk to me! Calico, say something, please!
Yo! I was just checking out the new manor. Well spacious, you know.
You're the only one who gets it, you know?
I'ma miss you too, Laurie.
Laurie Gardner, I said wait on the side with everyone else. Okay, so walk to the edge. Goggles on. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not already in the room, please take your seats.
So if you didn't know, that was the premiere. That was the first time this film was released, and that is pretty cool that we all got to the opportunity to watch that together. And if you didn't catch the full show or full movie or short film, that's called Calico. And you can find the director's introduction on our website at worldvitiligoday.ca, and there they'll show you where you can watch the film in full. But that was a phenomenal show, short film. So, I'm very excited. I don't think she knows yet, but she's up next. I would like now to introduce a speaker and teen coach with vitiligo, who coincidentally can probably relate quite a bit to Laurie in the Calico short film. Please welcome Aeisha Robinson to the stage.
Sorry, I just got caught up in conversations. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me and giving me the opportunity to share my story. I was diagnosed with vitiligo at the age 18. That was about 16 years ago. People think I'm 22, and I take the compliment, but I'm much older than that. And at the time that I was diagnosed, there wasn't any Winnie Harlows, there wasn't anybody that I saw that looked like me. And this led me to go into a depression. When I would go online and I would search up vitiligo, I would only see people getting shunned from their communities, not being accepted with living with vitiligo. And for a long time, I had a lot of suicidal ideations, even attempting to commit suicide because I thought death was better than living with vitiligo. And I finally asked for help by speaking to my older brother, letting him know how I felt. And that's when he told me, you know, if there's something you're not happy about, it's for you to change it. It's for you to, right now I'm searching for that external validation, but I have to seek for it from within. And if there's something that I don't like getting stared at. I couldn't leave my house without somebody staring at me or making a rude remark saying that I look the way that I do because I'm cursed, or telling me that I should go to Cuba and get the cure because I shouldn't be walking around looking the way that I do. So when you hear this time and time, and I know there's a lot of people that, raise your hand if you can relate, because I know there are some of you that can relate, right? We've all been through it. And after a time, it can definitely take a toll on your mental health. And that's when I decided, you know what? If I'm feeling like this, that means there's somebody else feeling like that as well. So I wanted to start sharing my story and letting people know that you are not alone in your journey and that there's a positive side to it. And I decided to start with the schools, speaking in elementary schools and high schools. And what's really funny is that I did not find my community until 2015. I went to my first World Vitiligo event in Washington. I think Lee, we were speaking about it earlier. That's where I met you. And we both had the chance to share our story at the Capitol steps in Washington. And I remember in my speech mentioning, oh my gosh, it would be so great to have something like this in Canada because I didn't know of a community within Canada. And here we are 10 years later, so it's a full circle. So for everyone that put this together, Skinopathy, Vitiligo Research Foundation, Vitiligo Voices of Canada, I thank you guys so much for bringing it here and giving us this platform to connect and to find out more about vitiligo with all the physicians that are here, the researchers, because I'm at a point where I accept the skin that I'm in. That's my journey, but there are some people that are still working on that part. And in my journey now that I accept myself in the emotional part of it, now it's, okay, but what is really vitiligo? Yes, it's an autoimmune disease, but do I need to look for something? Do I need to start trying to repigment? Is it okay that I'm self-acceptance in the skin that I'm in, or is there something that I should be trying for? I think having the conversations that I did with other people with vitiligo today, I think those are the answers that we're looking for, is what do we do in terms of health? Is it okay to just say, hey, we love the skin that we're in and leave it at that? Or is there actually, should we be trying out the clinical studies that are out there? So I appreciate you guys sharing what you have. Last thing I'm gonna leave with, because I thought it was so ironic that on my drive here from Montreal, that's where I'm from, I get a message from a mother that her daughter, they just came from the dermatologist, and her daughter, a 9-year-old daughter, was diagnosed with vitiligo. She was freaking out, her daughter is freaking out, and she asked me to offer any insight that I can provide. And I was like, well, it's really funny that you mentioned this, because I'm literally on my way to a vitiligo conference here in Toronto. And I told her I'd find out all the information that I can and share it with her. So I'm happy I missed the first half, but I'm here now, and I'm here to just soak up all the knowledge that I can, hear your stories, any advice that you guys would have for me to pass on. Please do let me know, because at the end of the day, we are a community. We are not just patients, but we are people, and this is our lives. So yeah, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity, Richard, for having me speak, and I look forward to having individual conversations with everyone here. Thank you so much.
So you came late to the party, so you missed this first part. So what we recognized, what we saw, was that there wasn't enough recognition for people who do things for Canadians with vitiligo, right? There's not enough recognition, awards, it's just our community still needs to develop. And so we thought that today was the best day for us to go and fix that. And so instead of giving you a gift, we thought that we would welcome you to the Order of World Vitiligo Day Canada. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Wow, that was powerful, and I'm so happy to hear that Aeisha does what she does for so many people, which is amazing. You know, she talked about repigmentation, which is actually our next topic at hand. You have already met Dr. Silverberg earlier today, so please join me and welcome her to the stage for her to talk on how we have entered the age of vitiligo repigmentation. Do you want me to take this away?
No, I have slides, and it's going to advance through a little bit. So we'll run through this a little bit faster because I always make too many slides, so I apologize in advance. You know, we are entering the age of repigmentation, but we have been in the age of repigmentation in its nascent stages for about 20 years. These are my conflicts. And I've certainly worked with many companies that work with vitiligo, and that is Mount Sinai in New York. It's a health system, so that's where I hail from. And thank you for welcoming me here with your Canadian group. And I'm so excited to see how you guys have really created such a wonderful network. So, you know, vitiligo in the scientific component is quite complex. This illustration comes from our pediatric vitiligo consensus guidelines. And it may be changing over time, but many of the medications we talk about work someplace in this pathway of pigment cells being damaged, and T cells, and interferon gamma and JAK inhibitor signaling. So there are many pathways that are involved. And because of that, we really don't know when we see an individual what their genetic makeup is or what their genetic basis for vitiligo is. So there are many genes that have been associated. There are similar common pathways, and it seems like that will be the key to curing vitiligo over time. So these pathways include JAK-STAT-dependent pathways, and you've heard about JAK inhibitors over the past few years. And of course, you're hearing about CXCL9 and 10, as you see some of one of the booths here. Interleukin 15. And so there are many different players that will come of age in the next few years. So one of the things that we worked on very hard as a group in pediatric vitiligo guidelines was creating a working definition of vitiligo that didn't look the same as everybody else's working definition. So the idea was to say that it is progressive in the definition, that it affects people emotionally in the definition, and that it worsens over time. And it was incredibly important for us to say it's cumulative over time in the absence of therapy, because we have so many insurers saying it's cosmetic and they don't want to pay for medications. And we know the life course of vitiligo. And I know the life course of vitiligo because I saw it as a child. And you'll find that many vitiligo researchers have family members with vitiligo. We're the right people to work with patients with vitiligo because we love vitiligo patients. We've grown up with them. And so we don't have that sense of stigma that people may have when they see a vitiligo patient. So here's my grandmother in her wedding picture. And I guess it's a little hard to see in this picture, but she has a little vitiligo on her upper lip, and you can see a touch on her chin and a little bit on her eyebrows. That's her at 19, and on the right, that's her in her 60s holding me. I'm on the right-hand side. We're having some partying there, and she has no pigmentation. And so we know sometime in the course of her life events, she lost her color, but she also lived her life. And that is the most important aspect of having vitiligo, is that you have to live your life. We don't, it's not about the therapy, it's about leading the best life you can lead and working the issue out the best you can for yourself. Each person's very different, each choice is different. So we try to optimize therapy through these pediatric vitiligo guidelines. They're available online from JAMA Dermatology from last year. If you wanted to share them with your primary care doctor, or with a doctor that you know, because you were not sure you were getting optimized therapy, you certainly can. But the concept was to help physicians use medications properly, because we know many people receive a prescription, but they say, don't come back, here, take this. And they don't tell you it's going to take you 6 months, 9 months, 12 months to get where you want to be. So we want to make sure people know how to use it properly. Obviously, this is a little complex looking, but as is the nature of all medicine, and we saw our pathway earlier, so of course that's a little bit complex. And we looked at different medications that we might suggest to people for topical therapy. We're working on later guidelines for systemics, but these are for children at least. Some of the concepts we came up with, looking at therapeutic application, how we counsel people about products, and also about how we maintain pigmentation over time using these therapeutics. We're very fortunate to have the first FDA-approved medication for vitiligo in the United States, which is the topical ruxolitinib. And I am currently an investigator on the trial for children ages 2 to 11. And I think that this is a major advancement for a company to invest conceptually in patients with vitiligo in a trial that takes a long time, that follows people over their course of their life and looks at their health and well-being. We also have some early data to show some case series that these new medications will be quite effective in our younger patients, probably more effective than even in adults. So we're talking about now intervening. When do we intervene? So we want to treat early to prevent pigment loss. Once you've lost about 30% of your color, if we hand you a treatment that gives you 70 to 80% of your color back, that's actually a very effective treatment, but you'll still be left with at least 10% loss on your body. So we don't want to wait until people have lost so much that it's difficult, that it really will take them years and years to repigment. So the idea is to get people in early. It's also important to look at this quote, and I think it is really a great quote from a recent article from Dr. Passeron's group in France. Non-lesional skin is in a state of subclinical inflammation until triggered by internal and/or external exposomal events. And the idea is that vitiligo is not a localized disease. It may be widespread, even if you don't visualize it. So we have to think about doing things potentially that are systemic in the future to address that issue. I always show this slide to doctors. So it's a little complex to show to a non-medical audience, but the idea is that we do a lot of things with vitiligo. We don't just hand you a prescription, get out the door, don't come back. We have people come back. We look at the progress of their disease. We talk about adding in conceptual things that speed repigmentation, ultraviolet light, vitamin D, and wellness. And we're going to look at some wellness issues. And then, of course, aside from optimizing topical therapy, we're going into the age of availability of anti-inflammatory products and immune regulatory products that will be very targeted to vitiligo. So, of course, these are some of our extra recommendations. And what's coming up? So, there are tons of medications that were off-label through the years. But if they were super effective, we wouldn't have as many people as we do walking around with extensive vitiligo. They're difficult to tolerate. They have side effects. They were hard to monitor. Oral steroids are wonderful for short term, but what happens if you have to take them for a year and you have osteoporosis? So I think that this is not, these weren't really excellent. They were short-term fixes. They were using what we had, and we have new tools in our toolbox that are developing over time, such as the JAK inhibitors, and I put them in red. These are in phase 2 and 3 trials in the United States. I don't know how it is here yet, but the oral JAK inhibitors have their own side effect profile, including cardiac events and potential risk of cancers in certain subpopulations. But they are extremely effective in these early clinical trials and better with narrowband UVB. So certain, optimized dosing, healthy young patients with vitiligo, it may be a good pathway. We think about things to maintain color, vitamin D supplementation, and maintenance therapy. But what is maintenance therapy? Is maintenance therapy topical therapy? Will it be systemic therapy for some people? We don't know yet, and I think that is waiting to be optimized. So these are pathways that will help people achieve, not just achieve your color. It's hard to achieve your color. You work hard for a year or two, you come into a doctor's office a few times a week, maybe for phototherapy. You're doing your topical therapy twice a day. You should be holding on to those results, and that's our aim. So we're looking at different optimizations of therapy, but we still have people who are not able to repigment in certain areas of their skin. And we have new developed technology that has standardized grafting for areas of the skin that can't repigment. And you see here a trial that I worked on, which is the RECELL for the RECELL device from Avita. And this particular one looks at, takes basically a skin biopsy. It's dependent on the amount of skin you want to graft, but essentially your skin is incubated in this system and applied to a lasered version of your vitiligo, and showing a very good repigmentation of a certain subset of patients, and even better with longer-term associated phototherapy. So. We feel that if we really start early and we work hard on our younger clientele, we will be able to even work to a point where they can get close to 100% repigmentation. There's always a discussion of diet and lifestyle, and I'm going to come back to this because I think it's best addressed later. But we really need to think about wellness overall in vitiligo. And sometimes people come into the office and they're crying in the office, and maybe the child maybe is calm and the parent is crying and doesn't want me to say the word vitiligo in the room with the child. So it's not just it's not just the child who may have anxiety and depression. It's also the parents and the family members can have anxiety and depression. And very often I have in the room 6 or 7 people, 2 grandparents who are worried about prospects of whether the child will get married, one who thinks maybe they ate fish and milk at the same time, and a sibling who wants to know, are they going to get vitiligo? And then 2 parents who want to assign blame to each one of the other, and want to figure out what happened, what they do wrong. And they didn't do anything wrong. It happens in some individuals. We're born with vitiligo as a genetic tendency. It is sometimes triggered. No matter what you do, you can lead the best lifestyle. We all get infections, we all get exposures to chemicals. It happens. So we have to think about addressing wellness and fighting depression and anxiety, but not just in the patient and families. So supportive therapy is really important when we think about families that have adverse childhood events. You know, in a sense, vitiligo is an adverse childhood event in families sometimes, especially somebody who has a grandparent who had bad disease. And I'm not going to say bad. When I say bad, I apologize. It's not really the right word. Extensive disease. So, you know, in certain cultures, there may be conceptual stigma. In the United States, I think that, you know, people find relationships if they choose to. And we don't want people to feel like they're shut-ins. We consider vitiligo beautiful. I don't think it's something that can prevent you from having a relationship. And we have to have people have therapy and have wellness events such as support groups in order to help them see their own beauty and to get past the adverse events that may affect their vitiligo. We want to invent and investigate, so we have dozens of new agents under development that will revolutionize therapy for vitiligo. We mentioned the trial that's ongoing. We had the trial with the grafting device. We have the Insight phase for age 2 to 11. But we have so many physicians publishing small case series of new agents. Roflumilast, there's a new drug being developed, a BET inhibitor, which is a different slightly different pathway in the T cell domain. We have tofacitinib, which was the original JAK inhibitor that was described, but is sometimes compounded. While it had a ton of side effects in rheumatoid arthritis, we have some more selective JAK inhibitors, less immune suppression that are being looked at with ongoing repigmentation over extended time periods. And this is just a case report, so I'm showing an individual who has eczema. I am showing you a patient here who's on dupilumab for vitiligo and alopecia areata and eczema, so all 3. And has done quite nicely over time. We have clinical trials of afamelanotide, which is a variant of natural hormone that promotes pigmentation. And then we have new agents that are starting to look at our microbiome, and I know you've had a lot of discussion of it, but you know, I'm not going to tell you to roll in dirt. I think we have to look at some medical options for tweaking the microbiome. And I think there are wonderful mouse models coming out and that are demonstrating the benefit of that. And we're looking forward to seeing more and more therapeutics in that domain. And finally, we're going to be sharpshooting. We're going to target the pathogenesis in its most selective pathways for vitiligo, interleukin-15 blockade, that the agents that work on CXCL9 and 10 and their receptors, as you're seeing here, and some variants of RNA that are known to have an anti-inflammatory outcome. And so we want to say to people, it's really never too late to seek therapy for vitiligo. We think some individuals really can repigment many years later, although I've talked to you about early intervention for small kids to limit the surface area. We have some people who repigment 20, 30 years out. So if you have some pigmentation in your hair and you want to go for it, it's never too late. So, we looked at these options, defining vitiligo, but not letting it define our lives, living our lives, intervening early, optimizing therapy, looking to repigment people, slow down disease with our systemic agents, keeping our color with some maintenance products, choosing wellness, which is, I think, the most important of all the therapeutics, inventing new products and investigating agents, and keep going and keep that door open if you want to. If you want to shut the door and take a break and take a snooze here and there, you're allowed to. That's up to you. It's your choice. These are shared decision-making options that need to be discussed with a healthcare professional to identify if you're a good candidate. But there are many options out there, and there's something for everybody if they choose to, and if they're in a mindset to repigment. And so we're looking at that phase of repigmentation, and I thank you for listening. Thanks.
Dr. Silverberg, we have a few questions.
Oh, okay, great.
All right. The first question I have here is, what have you found with oral JAK inhibitor treatments? Which demographics are ideal for its use?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Yeah. What have you found with oral JAK inhibitor treatments? Which demographics are ideal for its use?
Oh, I think that first of all, it's something you need to discuss with a dermatologist in conjunction. At this moment in time, only topical JAK inhibitors are on label for vitiligo, and that's for 12 and over. Everything else, and I know you had this discussion this morning, is really off-label, but very close to FDA application for approval in the U.S., and I think that will be about the same timing, it sounds like, in Canada. So we have two that are in development, one that's FDA approved for eczema, one that's FDA approved for alopecia areata. And so we know those side effect profiles, we can see them being developed, but they're still off-label for vitiligo, so you really do have to sit and talk to your primary care doctor about it, and your dermatologist, because they do have side effects. They are pills, and they have their own, at this point, age limits. So, it really kind of depends on coordinated care and monitoring, and not having histories of hepatitis or tuberculosis would be contraindications most of the time.
I got one more for you. How would you respond to someone who's hesitant to try clinical studies due to a fear of not understanding the product?
We have this all the time, right? I mean, Mount Sinai is really invested in development of new products in a variety of inflammatory skin conditions, and I've offered. I can think of products like dupilumab, which we use. It's one of the most frequently prescribed drugs in the world at this point, but I can remember when it was in trial and parents were too frightened to put their children into the atopic dermatitis trials at that point. And I think that fear is a powerful motivator. I understand that that's the case, but I also feel that it's worthwhile to hear about these products because most of the products that are in phase 3 have already shown proof of concept that they are going to make it to market. So hearing about it, having that on your radar helps you learn about, see how it might integrate into your life. We have kids who come in years later who say, my parents didn't let me treat, but I'd like to, now I'm 18, I'd like to go ahead and try even topical therapy. There are parents who said no to. And I think it's important that it's in your you at least inform yourself with the knowledge. You don't have to choose it. But the knowledge is really important, and it's nice to have that opportunity to understand where the science is going, and even if you don't choose to do it, because having that conversation gives you the power to say yes or no. Having that kind of power as a vitiligo patient is essential. It is a funny condition. We say 60% of people feel annoyed by the random aspect of the disease. I think it's higher than that depending on the age group, probably teenagers very much higher. And I think knowledge is power. So, you don't lose anything by finding out. When it comes to market, it may be your choice to do it at that point because it's very well-defined labeling.
Real fast, there's just one last question. It's been asked a couple of times, but you only have maybe 10, 15 seconds. People asking about tattoos. Is tattoos a good option or is for vitiligo?
I've seen people tattoo over time. I don't think it's easy to match color. I understand the whole cosmetic component because I used to watch my grandmother put on her makeup. I didn't, by the way, nobody said she had vitiligo. We weren't allowed to say vitiligo in the household. That was like a dirty word. But I saw her put on her beautiful makeup, right? It started with Zentan, which is like a self-tanner. She had Zentan and Mantan. They had these great names, like, whoa. And so she put a little color, she put a little base color, then she put on her red lipstick, and then she put on her white eyeshadow, because white is always lighter than your vitiligo skin. You have other pigments. So, I've seen the pigmentation with the tattoos, and they don't always match well. I think it's highly dependent on the person you see. It's probably reasonable for an eyebrow or a limited area in a small area. I don't always see good results, but I don't want to say no. I think that, it's really probably, like every tattoo, you see tattoos that are like, I don't even know if I like tattoos, but I see some that are so beautiful, I have to admire them. You know a beautiful tattoo when you see one, and you know a botched job. You really, I think that's just the nature of it. It's only as good as the tattoo artist, probably. So, I think probably you guys in these groups know more about who does a good job of it. And where it's best, but I will say don't do it on the genital area. I've seen patients who've done it there, and they've always regretted it. It's an unbearably painful process. So.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Silverberg, for sharing your knowledge with us. That's so extensive, and you covered so much in so little time. I can listen to you talk all day, like seriously. Thank you. Our next session looks at makeup as more than just coverage. It's expression, empowerment, and identity. And it plays a huge role in the vitiligo community. I now kindly ask the following panelists to please join us on stage. First is Erica Page, founder of Living Dappled and recognized as one of the world's top 10 influential vitiligans. Next is Hessa Asmani, a vitiligo researcher and member of Vitiligo Voices Canada, who we met earlier. Next, we have Sarah Frankel, Chief Operating Officer for Zanderm, and our... Thank you. And our moderator is none other than Lee Thomas, our resident Emmy-winning author and anchor, who is actually stepping in for Dr. Sangeeta Nataraja, the original moderator for this conversation, but she had to be called away for a family emergency. So thank you, Lee, so much. The stage is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. How you doing? What's up? Obviously, I'm very low-key. So this is going to be a conversation because I use makeup, and I use it only when I'm on the air. And people always ask me, why? So I'll explain it fairly quickly, and then we'll get to our esteemed panelists. I wear the makeup because over time it has evolved. And you talk about confidence and empowerment. For my job, I need to be able to talk to people and have them not stare at my ear or stare at my nose. Because I got about 4 minutes to talk to a celebrity, and I cover entertainment. I've been covering it for about 30 years. And I've gone into interviews with celebrities, and they've talked about something about my body or me for the first 2 minutes of a 4-minute interview, and I only have 4 minutes. So when I wear the makeup, they don't. So it makes it easier, not only for me, I'm not saying it's not just for me, but for other people as well. And also they know me immediately. I'll walk in the room and they'll say, "Hey Detroit, how you doing?" Because I'm distinct. My hands, I never cover my hands, I only cover my face. And we can talk about how I cover my face. But let's get to our esteemed panelists and talk about, first of all, Sarah's right next to me, so we can talk about Zanderm. You've been to Detroit before, we appreciate you. Talk about the heart for vitiligo that your company has.
Okay. It's actually, first of all, thank you so much for having us here. It's a real honor, so thank you. We actually, my business partner, Jim, and I, this has been a really long journey, really fun one. And we actually came from the sun care industry way back in the early 2010, right, something back then. And we actually developed a product that was called a Tan Line Corrector Pen, which we won lots of awards for, which was great, and it made us feel good. And basically it was a sunless tanning, but in a pen form. So when you had those tan lines, then you were able to just color them in. And we were at a show in California, and there was a surfer, a junior surfer, and she had just won the awards, and she had come up to our booth, and we had really loud booths back then. And she's like, "Will it work on my sunspots?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So, she has a whole crowd of people following her around, and she comes and says, so I'm coloring on her back, and then, it covered her sunspots. And then someone in the crowd says, "Does it work on vitiligo?" And we're like, look at each other and we're like, "What's vitiligo?" So, we wrapped up that show and then we went home and, it kept bothering us, and we started searching vitiligo, and we found the VRF and we met Jan, and it's history since then, Zanderm is us, the name of the product is after our children's names, Zach, Ailey, Nechama, Derm. The leopard represents the spots that they change, but still gorgeous and fierce animal. And we wanted to create a space for people with vitiligo. We wanted to create something unique for them. We wanted to create a product that they didn't have to explain to people, that it looked like a cosmetic, and they didn't have to explain to anybody what they were doing, and just take that burden off of them. We are a camouflage. We're not a makeup. We're not a treatment.
What's the difference? Camouflage and makeup, you're separating those.
I hear you. I think when people say makeup, they're thinking of traditional cosmetics like Dermablend, MAC, anything. And I know
Maybelline, yeah.
Anything, yeah. It could go. There's a big list. Mm-hmm. And you need to create layers in order to cover up your vitiligo with regular cosmetics. And regular cosmetics wear off. They smudge, they budge, they transfer. They're very stressful. I have many, many stories of many people with vitiligo that we have met with. For instance, like a doctor who he would put on this spray skin. Mm-hmm. And in between, he was an ophthalmologist, a pretty famous surgeon actually. And he had it on his hands, and he would tell me that in between patients, he would change his jacket because the makeup would get on his jacket. Yeah. But he's like, there's no way that, just like you're saying, there's no way that I could go and work on someone's eyes when my hands have vitiligo, and they're going to be scared that I'm touching them. So this is an extra stress. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys the extra stress that, wearing cosmetics. Someone said that she her nephew asked her, "Why don't you hug me?" And she like, "I didn't even realize that I wasn't hugging him, but I didn't want my makeup to go on him."
Yeah.
And like so many things that we do, we don't realize why we're doing it, but it creates this extra burden that we're carrying with us. So we wanted to create a product that removes that stress, that removes that extra burden, and just gives you that confidence to get through your day and not have another thing to worry about, because there is so many things to worry about in today's world.
Yeah, and let's jump in here. I'm going to jump in here and move over to Erica and talk about your experience, not only with makeup. If someone out there is listening in the audience and in the audience online, Living Dappled, what is it? And then talk about your experience with makeup, Erica.
Absolutely. Well, very briefly, Living Dappled, I'm the founder, and Living Dappled is a community and blog for women with vitiligo. 9 years ago, I Googled vitiligo, and when I didn't find much, I wanted to create a space for women like me to come together to feel seen and heard and share their stories. And today we also connect our community with a lot of the resources that are in this room today, which is why it's so great to be here and meet a lot of you. When it comes to my story with vitiligo and makeup, I was laughing when you said that. You're bringing back a lot of memories for me. I had like no hug days with my boyfriend when I was covering. And then I also remember he wasn't allowed to wear white t-shirts because my makeup would get on him and it would ruin all of his shirts. So he had to wear like specific colors. It was like a whole thing. But taking it back a minute, I got vitiligo when I was 7, and I've since lost 100% of my skin's pigment. I lost all of that pigment somewhere in my middle 20s. And right before then is when I started covering fully head to toe with tanner and makeup, and I did that for 7 years. Before that, I had kind of played around with makeup. I was starting to lose like, bigger patches, and so I would wear tanner in certain parts, but once I had lost most of my pigment, I was really struggling mentally with what I thought I was supposed to look like. I am Caucasian, but my family tans very easily in the summer, and so I thought I was supposed to look very different than the girl that I was becoming. And so I put on that tanner to look like who I thought I was supposed to be, but also at that point to help with the stares. Because for my entire life, I could not, and as many of the people in this room know, I could not leave the house without being stared at. And I remember those hot days in the summer, you're wearing shorts, it's too hot to wear anything else, and I would just sit on my room, like sit on the floor of my room and sob for like an hour or two. I was always late because I didn't know if I could handle the stares again, like the mental and emotional trauma that put me through. And so I remember the first time I fully put on tanner, and I walked down the street and no one looked at me. Like, I can't tell you like what freedom that brought me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm invisible. Like, that's all I ever wanted in my entire life. And so, I did that for 7 years, and eventually I got curious about what I would look like without tanner, and I was kind of coming to a point where I was ready to do that because it was a lot, like I mentioned, it took a lot to maintain that. There were, I wasn't using the best products, so it got everywhere and it was messy. And so today I am tanner free, but definitely supportive of the choice. And I'm so glad there's products like Zanderm out there that can help people have that choice.
Hesse, let's talk about your story with makeup, and also your story with vitiligo.
Yeah, I have been living with vitiligo since I was about 3 years old. It is something that runs in my family, so both of my parents have it, and I do as well. I think for them, they were hoping when they had me that I wouldn't develop white patches, but I did at the age of about 2 or 3. So it didn't come as a complete surprise, but nonetheless, it is something that I had to adapt to. I think that my story is I have a unique perspective just because my parents grew up in India and I grew up here. So their experiences have always been very different compared to mine. I think it's a lot more common in India. A lot of people growing up in school, I would have been the first person that they've seen with like white patches on their body. But I think in terms of cosmetics, it is something that, or cosmetics camouflage, it is something that I have done in the past, and I used to have like white patches near my eyes. I think I have been able to repigment a little bit through different types of treatments, but at the time it is something that I felt it was like there was a very strong like internal battle when it comes to cosmetics. For me, it came down to my parents live with vitiligo. They have it on their face. They choose not to camouflage. They go out every day. So why can't I do the same kind of thing? So I think that has always been a big struggle. It's something I'm definitely better at today, and after talking to them, they understand my perspective as well. But yeah.
Yeah, very good. I think it's important to stress that no matter where you are in your journey, no matter where you are in the world watching, no matter where you are in your journey, it's absolutely okay to do what you're doing. Because for me, the evolution of getting to wearing makeup on TV or not wearing makeup on TV, and I tried both, it took years. And it takes years to get emotionally to the right place. And I hear that from both of you guys. But also to get the right product, because some stuff gets everywhere immediately. You scratch your face, you can't scratch anywhere else because you'll walk around with a scratch on your pants all day. Most people think it's dirt, but it's brown makeup because I'm wearing brown makeup. So it's one of those things where makeup is so unbelievably important. So Zanderm is something that you don't have to apply a bunch of layers. Maybe you can explain that.
So
The mic.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. So as we said, it's a camouflage. So it's not meant to be perfect and seamless. And some people, it could be perfect and seamless. Like, do you know Ogo from South? So, okay, so I met Ogo, and we went to Washington, actually, for one of the conventions. And I remember sitting there with her, and she colored her spot on her arm. She doesn't have a big spot. She has it. Anyways, we were talking, and she looks down. She's like, "Where's my spot?" And she couldn't find it. And I'm like, okay, you know. And so some people have it like that, and some people have that it's camouflage. It's not white, so they like it, and it doesn't have any texture. So, and it doesn't look like makeup. It's not cakey. It has, and again, we said, you know, it doesn't smudge, budge. You could wear a white shirt. You could hug your boyfriends. You could just remove that stress and burden that people carry around. That they
How do you
don't
do
realize.
that? What's in it? I mean, I don't want to give anything proprietary away, but how do you do that?
Jim is actually a botanist by trade, and he's worked on products from Kiehl's to L'Oreal and other incredible, huge companies.
Shout out, Jim.
Shout out to Jim.
All right.
I'm just the better looking one, so I got to go on the stage.
All right.
But you know, together with his background and my creativity and our, you know, just wanting to have fun, we developed a formula that's actually natural and hypoallergenic. We developed it that it is made for the people with vitiligo. We understand your concerns. We understand all the other, you know, treatments and everything else that you're going through. Actually, our product doesn't have SPF in it for very specific reasons, so that you can do your light therapy through it, and you could do your topical treatments on top of it, and it doesn't interact. So, you know, as Jan had shown earlier through his map, you know, Zanderm could be there with you along the way, and really just, we're there for you as a choice. No one should ever tell you what you should wear or what you should do. You should own that choice. And it's incredible the world is changing and people are embracing their differences. That's amazing. Yeah. No one is gonna ever tell anybody to cover up their pimple. You know, that's your choice. So if you choose today to cover up a spot and tomorrow you wanna embrace it, that's cool. And we're just there as a choice. So, yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump into this one. I want you guys to talk about, and we can start with you, Hessa. Talk about how you got to where you are right now with your makeup choices. Both of you ladies are beautiful. All three of you ladies are beautiful. So how did you get to those? How did you get there? And number two, let us in on your regimen now.
For me, in terms of camouflage, I don't really use any. I think there are a lot of like fashion choices that I make that are in mind with my vitiligo. I think a lot of the times in the summer, especially, we get a lot more anxious about showing more skin. So I'm a lot more mindful in that sense. But I did used to think that makeup was about covering. I think now I see it as more of an option and more of a way of expression. I think that has been the main shift in my mindset.
You ever cover your hands? I know a guy who covers his wrist all the way down to the tips of his fingers. He covers neck all the way back to the back of his neck. The only person who has ever seen him without makeup is his wife, and he has 3 kids. The people he works with, they have no idea he has vitiligo. He only told me because I'm me, I guess I look like this, and he was comfortable telling me. Anyway, do you cover your hands?
No, I haven't really considered that because all of the cosmetics that I have used in the past, they wouldn't have enough pigment to cover my darker skin. So that was never really something that I considered, but I'm not sure. Is Zanderm something that could? Yes. Yeah? Okay.
We'll do a little over there.
Yeah, and Erica, first of all, I love things that make people so unique, and you have very unique around your eye. I have a young man in my group who has a streak in his eyebrow, and it's right in his hair too. I told him he should model. You should model. Talk about what you do. What's your regimen?
In terms of how I
Yeah.
today,
Cover, makeup, yeah.
So right now my makeup is like pretty light, just a little bit of foundation on the days when I feel like I'm at big events. But really, I like to just kind of, do my sunscreen and lotions and keep it pretty simple when I'm at home for most of the time. And that's kind of that. But you did also ask kind of what got you there. And I actually think that's an interesting story because I think there's a previous version of me who, if you had told her that like she would be in a swimsuit, not thinking about her skin, not in tanner, no makeup, I like literally would not have believed you. And I can't like impress that feeling enough. Like there was no way. Like I would do a lot of things before I would let that happen. Like that was the mental state I was in. And so a lot of people, they kind of talk about like, how did you like make that mental jump, right? And for me, it was truly started by accident, and it was the scariest grocery store visit I have ever done. Because my husband asked, he said, I need to run to the grocery store. And I was like, I'll run with you, but I'm gonna stay in the car because like I already took off everything and there's no way I'm gonna be seen. And so we go to the grocery store, he goes in, and I'm sitting in the car, and I'm like, what am I doing right now? Like, this is crazy. I'm not gonna go into a grocery store for 5 minutes because like I don't have my makeup on. And I was like, this is it. We're changing, we can do this. I go in there, I wanted to throw up the entire time. I'm like, we gotta get in and get out. I can't be seen by anyone. But I got back in the car, and I was like, I did it. And like, nothing bad happened, like it's okay. And so like the next week I went to the gym with no makeup on. And like it just kind of had this like beautiful snowball effect that took truly years. And I don't know that it was an intentional thought at the time, it was more like I accidentally stumbled into it. But I think that's important for people to hear too, because someone who might want to stop covering, like it kind of takes it's a long journey to get there, and it's not always straightforward.
Yeah, to the people in the audience, how many times, with people with vitiligo in the audience, how many times, or maybe is it every time, how many times have you thought about it before you left the house? Raise your hand. Multiple times, right? If not, is it every time? Raise your hand. Yeah, every time. Every time you have to think about, and I can let you guys say it as well, you have to think about, am I ready to hear comments, stares, all of the above every time you leave the house. And so makeup to me, or cover, or camouflage, is part of your arsenal. It's like putting on armor for a soldier. Okay, I'm ready to do this today. I had the funniest story, and we can kind of wind this up because I know we're probably a little over time. I was talking to a lady, I had my makeup on, I was talking to a lady about wearing makeup, and she was trying to tell me that I didn't need to wear the makeup because, you're beautiful the way you are. And of course, I believe that, very handsome. The spotted Denzel said that many times. But this lady is telling me, so I said to her, well, what kind of makeup do you use? She goes, what do you mean? I go, well, she goes, well, I have some MAC here, just foundation, but then under my eyes I have here. She listed 7 things. 7 things. I had on 1, but yet she was telling me I didn't need to wear makeup. So I think people need to come to it and understand it's okay to have cover camouflage makeup in your arsenal. And it's okay to use it or not use it. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever gets you back outside, it gets you back engaged with life, whatever maintains your employment, whatever the reason is, all of it is absolutely okay. And if you want to try it, try it. If you don't, don't. But know that it takes time. It takes time to get there. Is there, really quickly, I'll leave you guys 1 minute each. Is there one thing you want to finish off saying, perhaps about the day? Because it's been an amazing day. Erica, you want to go first? One thing you want to add just
thank
about
you
the day?
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you for creating the space for this conversation. I think that makeup and camouflage and beauty, there's so much to this conversation with vitiligo, and so this was a great space to just get to have that conversation, so thank you.
And where can people find you?
At Living Dappled on Instagram and livingdappled.com.
Dappled. Yeah, with the dappled.
Yeah, I think today has been amazing. I think I'm so happy to be here, and it's been so nice to hear many different perspectives, whether that be advocacy, medical. I think I've learned many different things, and I hope that everyone here has learned, or at least can take away one thing from today. I think that's the biggest accomplishment.
Sarah?
I'm just really proud to be part of this journey. I mean, from 2015, you know, we were a group of 15, 20 people with Vit Friends and Union Square, and today we're here, and each group around the world, it's just incredible how the vitiligo community is like growing, and people are there to, you know, be there for one another, and I think that that's really important, and to know that you're not alone, and that you should own your choices and not, and embrace whatever you want to embrace. And that's important.
I know your booth is like literally right there, so if you guys want to know where to find her, it's right there. For the people online, where can they find you online, Element?
Zanderm.com. Zanderm.com.
There we go. Okay. All right, everybody, I hope you had me. Oh, to me, we get to have questions. Nice. For me, it's always not only amazing, but invigorating to come to a place where people don't stare at my hands or my ear or the corner of my mouth or whatever they find fascinating when I am trying to talk. But I also know that it's cool for me to continue to be part of World Vitiligo Day. I've been at almost all of them since it started. And the people who make this happen, Skinopathy, Jan, the people that make this happen, I don't know if you have any idea how empowering this can be for individual people, the people that are watching, to know that you were never alone, you were never by yourself, we were always there, and we're always going to be there, right, Jan? So I'm happy that I could hop on the train and jet up here to my neighbors up north. So I appreciate being here. Now it's time for questions. Do you have some?
We have time for one question.
Okay.
What's one, aside from that it's contagious, what's one misconception about vitiligo, either about like a public myth or clinical stigma, that you could, if you could just with your snapping your fingers, you could eradicate?
So you're saying what's one stigma about vitiligo
or public myth,
or public myth that could be eradicated? Anybody want to jump in on that one?
Something?
Sure.
Okay, so we were at a convention in Africa with, we went with I Love New York on a trade mission, and we were there, and a bunch of nurses came up to us. We had our booth, and they said that in Africa, it's considered, they called it the ancestors' curse. And I was like blown away by this. And, you know, I've heard a lot of things, but people were ostracized from their communities because they thought that their ancestors did something wrong, and then it got transferred down to them. And I think education is empowerment, and I think that events like this is incredible, and it's huge. So that's.
To everybody listening in Africa that doesn't know, it's not a curse.
Not a curse.
Not a curse. You have anything you want to add, Hessa? Erica?
That's a great answer. We'll take that one.
The one thing that I will add, and I don't know if it's a stigma or just an overall prevailing thing, if there's someone with vitiligo in a conversation, and you walk up to that conversation and say, "You look good," no one in the conversation was talking about looks until you brought it up, which again makes the person with vitiligo realize that something about him is affecting you. So if you're listening out there, that one stigma is just talk to me. If you want to stare, it's okay. Stare at whatever you want. I'm very handsome. But to bring it up in conversation with others is one thing that has always been a difficult group thing to deal with. So if there's one thing I could snap my fingers and do is this, just talk to me. Especially just make me like everybody else is all I want. All right, we good? Everybody good? Good, good, good. Richard, we good? My man. All right, thank you guys for taking the time. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Hessa. Thank you, Erica.
Sarah and Erica, we would also like to invite you to the order as well. So thank you so much for your contribution. Why don't we all take a photo together? You're amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Was it Spotty Denzel? Spenzel? I like it. All right. I think now it's time for some fun. We have a few winners to announce, don't we?
That's correct. We have been doing a raffle all day. So for those of you who participated, got a ticket, did the cornhole thing, I'm going to be calling out the last 4 digits of your ticket. And, oh, there's...
Oh, okay.
No problem. We'll put, oh, geez, this is going to be... We didn't know there were some leftovers. Thank you so much. Okay. That's exactly what I'm doing, yeah. Because we already picked them, so, all right. You guys ready? Get your tickets out. The last 4 digits. 1, 2, 9, 4. Who's got 1, 2, 9, 4? Anybody? Bueller?
Going well. I'm going to take this home if no one...
There's even more. All right, this ticket is gone. Next ticket I'm drawing. Last 4 digits, 1, 2, 9, 2.
Oh. Related to the...
Are they all 1, 2, 9, 2 in here, Andrea? Andrea, you're the winner.
Andrea, come on up. So in case you didn't know, the reason Shiseido couldn't make it today is because today is their actual national launch for a product, their flagship product called Ultimmune. And so that's where everybody at Shiseido is, and actually Dr. Chen represented us over there. And so today, you get some flagship product from them.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, let's take a picture together. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, we had some really awesome abstracts earlier, and something I would like to stress is, even as a startup, we join a lot of abstract competitions, and one thing I've gotten to learn is that there's a lot of hard work put into this research. And I think what we've seen earlier is a lot of very impactful research that's very important to this community. And so first, I think it's important to recognize that all of the abstract presenters did some amazing work. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Okay, and the winner is Hessa Asmani. Come on up, let's take a photo. You are receiving an award. It's called the Byron Kazmarek Award for Research and Innovation in Healthcare. And the reason it's called that because Byron actually personally donated to this event so that we can make it happen. And this is something that is, he's just something that he believed in supporting this community. And this is a great honor in terms of what he's doing for us. So congratulations. Shake a hand and then a hug. How about that? Congratulations. Let's take a picture. Thank you. Congratulations. Now for even more fun. Did everyone vote? Did you vote for your favorite art? I think we saw hundreds of votes online. Is that what we saw? Amazing. So now it's time to share and walk you through the competition for both the AI and non-AI categories. But again, first, let's take a look at the finalists. Adam, can you do me a favor and only switch the next slide when I ask you, just so we can appreciate some of the art that we put up. So the first, we can put that one up, is Native Harmony by Goran Miladic in the EU. So again, this is AI-assisted or AI-generated art. Pretty cool, right? And there were dozens of entries from around the world that were submitted. These are finalists that were chosen by Zanderm. And then, of course, hundreds of people voted for this online just now. So let's get to the second finalist. This is Galaxy in My Skin by Navratpal Singh in Canada. And the third finalist from the AI category, Vitiligo Worldwide Awareness, also by Goran Miladic in the EU. All right, now let's see the non-AI finalists. The first is Travessia Crossing. This is from Gabriela Guerra de Almeida from Brazil. The second is Patterns of Belonging from Faith Poon in Canada. And the third is Undivided by Aaron Lee, Anthony Tawo in Nigeria. Can we please give them a round of applause for some amazing art? And you can see all of the entries online and appreciate really a lot of the amazing art that's been submitted. So to announce the winners, I kindly ask that Sarah Franco please come on stage. Thank you for sponsoring these awards. Really appreciate it. And here are the answers. Right there and right there.
Okay, for AI category. Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Native Harmony by Goran Miladic. Are we putting it up?
I guess not.
Okay.
And non-AI.
Okay, for non-AI category, Travessia Crossing, Gabriela Guerra de Almeida from Brazil.
That's right.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Thank you. We will be reaching out to the winners with your prizes. Thank you so much again, Xander. Really appreciate your support. It means a lot. And it's something I learned. I attended World Vitiligo Day last year in Colombia, and it was a lot of art. And then this year, one of the requests was like, can we do an art competition? And I was like, haven't really seen a lot of tech or med conferences with art competitions before, but it's clearly something the community really loves. So it's been pretty amazing. All right, time for our closing panel. Our closing panel brings together leaders in dermatology and advocacy to reflect on what the future of vitiligo awareness can and should look like. I invite the following individuals to the stage. First is Dana Geese, Executive Director of the Canadian Skin Patient Alliance, who is also a Director at Cystic Fibrosis Canada. Next is Dr. Sam Hanna, dermatologist and former Secretary of the Canadian Dermatology Association. Next is Dr. Jyotika Thakur, also a dermatologist, who also worked on the province-wide implementation of Connecting Ontario, a clinical viewer for digital health records. And moderating the conversation is Dr. Jillian Mandich. She's a researcher, a public speaker, and an expert on happiness. Oh, I need to talk to you. Who has been featured on Breakfast Television, The Morning Show, Marilyn Dennis, and The Social. Thank you very much. Dr. Mandich, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. How are y'all doing? Great day, right? Well, what a way to end this day with this amazing panel. I think before we start, I'd like to go down the panel and just sort of share what first drew you to this work. Introduce yourself, what first drew you, and what keeps you passionate and hopeful right now. We'll start and go down.
Sure, I'll start. My name is Dana Geese, and I lead the Canadian Skin Patient Alliance. We support, we educate, and we advocate for skin patients across Canada, so living with skin, hair, and nail conditions. What first drew me to this role was the opportunity to lead the charge and advocate on behalf of patients across Canada. My niece, who is 12 years old, has vitiligo, and I too myself have had different skin conditions, and it was an opportunity to join an organization where I could make a difference and make an impact.
I'm Sam Hanna. I'm a dermatologist here in Toronto. As dermatologists, we do see patients that come to us for management of vitiligo, and I've been doing this for a long, long time because I'm very, very old. And for a long time, the options existed but were limited. And so really what brought me really here today is over the last several years being involved in development of therapies, part one. Part two was in being involved in clinical trials and developing therapies, really reinforcing that is a piece of the puzzle for patients with people with vitiligo who want to seek treatment, but that the support and the need and the unmet needs were so great beyond that. So to see this event come together, to have it in Toronto is so exciting. So that's what brought me here.
I'm Jyotika Thakur. I'm a dermatologist also in Toronto. I have an interest in digital health, using AI in dermatology to reach patients that we normally wouldn't reach through traditional channels. And I do work with Skinopathy and Get Skin Help. I also do research and applications of AI in dermatology, and I'm very excited to be here to continue medical education and advocacy for my patients with vitiligo.
Awesome. So to kick things off, I think I have to. I study happiness. So I want to start off talking a little bit about mental health. And I'm sure there's probably more than one of you in this room that are like, what do you mean, Jillian? How do you study happiness, right? So I have a PhD in health science. And when I first started researching happiness, I went to Western. Did anyone here go to Western? Yes, over here. Amazing. There wasn't a single person studying happiness at Western at that time. And from then till now, there's been this huge shift. And I feel like, especially the pandemic has really brought this mental health conversation to the forefront. And so I'm curious from all three of you, how do we see this mental health piece now being a part of the conversation? What does that look like? And where do you see it going?
I guess I could start. So for the Canadian Skin Patient Alliance, our strategic priorities have always been in how can we support patients through mental health education. So we started a program called Breaking Barriers in 2023. And so we host workshops and symposiums, and we bring together specialists to help skin patients with that very mental health. And everything that we do is very much centered around how can we help with mental health. For the first time in Canada, we're actually looking at doing a pan-Canadian survey on the current state of mental health of skin patients across Canada this year. So that will really help us in our advocacy efforts for now and into the future. So yeah, I think it's very important. It's something that we're constantly delivering and coming up with new programming for our patients.
We're just going down the line.
Oh.
Happiness in my intersection with the vitiligo community is interesting, and I'm learning every day. I think that I love to hear, I did some stuff this morning with Omar and hearing Lee speak, dappled Denzel, I think that's good stuff. I love that, but I think that is not the experience of everybody that I see, and bringing options for happiness, support for happiness to those people who aren't yet there, who may not get there. I just think that's really exciting. I think from a medical perspective, it's very difficult to ignore when we collect mental health data from individuals with vitiligo. Anxiety, depression, suicidality scores, we heard a personal account just recently, are quite high. So, I think I love that support, and I want everybody to live comfortably and happily in the skin they're in. Frankly, I want us to live in a world where that's possible for everybody. We don't currently, and so I want all the options. I want all the tools.
Yeah, to just add one point, I think there's so many cultural nuances that, being someone with skin of color, I recognize that there's implications culturally, and we're starting to recognize that because in research, we're collecting all this data, right, at a patient advocacy level in clinical trials, and that is new and very welcomed for dermatology.
Awesome. Yeah, and just to clear things up, I didn't realize this, but people think because I study happiness that I'm happy all the time. So I just want to let you all know that I'm not, because it's impossible to be happy all the time, right? Happiness is not a destination. It's not something that we arrive at. It's a practice and it's a habit, and it is impossible to be happy all the time. And so I really like.
That's disappointing to hear.
It's paradoxically when we allow ourselves to not be happy all the time, to give ourselves grace to be a human, we actually end up being happier. There's actually research, sometimes in literature, it's referred to as like the dark side of happiness, where people who try to be happy all the time end up being less happy than other people. So, I think that having this conversation, asking those questions, even the fact that they're had now, right, 10 years ago was not the case. And so I think something that's kind of related to happiness, because we can't be happy all the time, sometimes it's hope. Sometimes it's hope that kind of gets us through some of those challenging or difficult times. And so I'm curious from all three of you, where do you see hope? Where do you see things going in terms of new innovation, technology, AI? What's giving you hope right now?
I think for me, what gives me hope is having everyone here today and speaking about all of the different treatment options that are in the pipeline. They give patients hope for a different tomorrow, and that gives me hope, and I feel very positive about where we're headed. I think everybody else should be as well. So I see hope, and I'm very optimistic and positive about what the future looks like for vitiligo patients.
Yeah, I agree. For a long time, Dr. Hannah's been in practice longer than I have, but what we like to call, he doesn't like to admit it, but our traditional treatments haven't really changed much until just the last few years. And whenever a company invests in a disease that is considered, I don't want to say abandoned, but maybe not, doesn't have that same attention as some of the other inflammatory diseases, we get innovation in that space. There's more basic science investigation, clinical trials give us new insights, and that sort of is like a nidus. It opens up, it becomes, it has like multiple prongs, and there's more innovation in that space. So, Dr. Hannah knows this, but when I go to conferences, I look at the companies and I'm like, what's in your pipeline? And they're framing vitiligo as something that they're focusing on, and that's really exciting for me.
And I think what I was sort of thinking about dovetails from that. When you start to increase that conversation, you create spaces like this one, and this came from the vitiligo community, but I think you start to elevate and make that voice louder and make those conversations more frequent and give them cool spaces to happen in. And for people living in skin with vitiligo, the hope for me, it's so nice to see the comfort right now. Yes, the future is great, but that idea of seeing we all love that. Seeing people that reflect yourself back to yourself, there's instant kind of comfort and hope in that. So the future is great, and we may be able to do different things and offer tailored approaches, but that everybody's okay right now at whatever point in the journey, that's also a nice thing. And again, I'm speaking from somebody who doesn't have vitiligo, but interacting with folks increasingly. Those are things that are echoed back to me.
I love that. It's very helpful. And something sort of to make it a little bit even more concrete and to zoom in a little bit, what specifically in terms of education, research, technology do you see as sort of the future of where things are going that are exciting or promising?
Can I take the technology piece?
I was going to give it to you.
Okay. I'm going to fight you for it.
No.
So I think that it's really exciting, that we can track the degree of involvement of a disease where it was like a very subjective thing for us. Identifying body surface area, like how much of the body has vitiligo, how much of it is progressing. These are things that patients know it is getting worse, but how do you quantify that in a meaningful way? I think that's very exciting from a technology standpoint to be able to say, yes, we have a map, we can show you where the pigment is coming back. And I think eventually when these tools become validated, it empowers patients, it empowers doctors, and it supports a lot of the research that maybe clinical trials can use to show that there is meaningful improvement at certain time points.
And then those tools come from, again, they arise from unmet need and need to measure what we're doing. But we heard, for me, I'm going to geek out about therapy, and we had a great talk about that, but we could all go to a week-long conference talking about what we understand now about what is actually happening on a not just cellular but molecular level in our bodies that may create this outcome, that outcome, and that allows. So we now have an approved topical therapy in Canada, in the US, and the EU. In 5 years, I expect us to be in a very different place. And as we do that, we'll understand more. And in 5 years, there's going to be a pipeline that's going to make 5 years and then make us, realize how primitive, we were now. But it has to start somewhere. So that, to me, is exciting. The understanding, the tools to sort of measure our understanding, that, to me, is really, really exciting and really gratifying.
At the CSPA, we've developed a self-empowerment toolkit for patients. And so there's 3 different guides in there. One of them is the Just Diagnosed guide. So that helps walk patients through a new diagnosis. It helps them with elevator pitches. So oftentimes people will develop an elevator pitch for their condition. They can have multiple elevator pitches, whether it's someone that they want to pitch that to who they've never met before, or it's somebody who they want to share more details with that are in their family or extended family. We also have a Talking to Kids guide, which is really helpful for teachers and parents and coaches when they're speaking with kids about different skin conditions. The other one we have is a You and Your Derm guide, which helps patients when they go to see a dermatologist and they want to talk, they have questions that they can prepare, and it just helps them get the most out of their appointment with their derm.
Oh, that was you? No, those are great tools.
So hot topic right now is AI, specifically when we think about technology in the future. And so I'm going to look to you in terms of where things are at right now, where things are going, what sounds exciting, what sounds promising. I just love anything you have to say.
Well, I have to say, I'm very impressed by the art that was generated, that I saw. Hats off to everyone who contributed. I think, when I think of AI, it's a broad term. There's so many pillars of it. I think it allows people to learn more. I mean, just look at ChatGPT. I have patients who go and type their symptoms in. They even come with a list of questions that they want to ask their doctor, and I think that's empowering. It gives many of my patients a voice where they didn't really feel like they had one before. In terms of technology, Skinopathy has developed an app that can actually measure the degree of vitiligo, the amount of pigmentation over periods of time, give you sort of like a heat map that exposes the areas that are maybe new, maybe different. And then lastly, I think AI is being used at a molecular level. There's alpha tools developed by Google. It's open source. If you have an idea for a drug, you can actually test and see if it'll interact with the protein of interest. And this is accelerating drug development. It's a very exciting time for us. I think we all embrace AI in many different ways and integrate it into our workflows, but our future, like Dr. Hannah said, will look very different in 3 years and 5 years because of the tools that exist today in this space.
It's very exciting. It's a very cool time. So, we talked earlier about a myth of happiness, right? That we can't be happy all the time. But specifically look at vitiligo and this. If you could squash a myth, or there's a misconception out there that you hear a lot, what would that be?
I mean, in the happiness space, I think that idea that somebody's presented with something that they did nothing to create and should get over it. We have these conversations now we have medications that cost money, and we have these conversations with payers. Vitiligo doesn't itch, and it doesn't hurt the way eczema and psoriasis do, but it hurts in a different way, and that's not less significant. So that idea of that sort of get over it thing, I think we need to really loudly say, I managed through great work over a period of time to own it, or it's easy for me to own it, but that's not going to be true for everyone. So again, that sort of range of acceptance and community, the vitiligo community, really, the voice is getting louder, and that's important because I think medicines cost money, and we need the people that pay for those medicines to pay for those medicines, and so that we're going to be judged by the way we treat the weakest in our society, or that borrow from Gandhi. I think that's an important thing. I don't know why I turned to you when I said that.
That's okay. It's a fair assumption.
It seemed a better bet. Anyway, I think for me that's one. That whole thing. Let people feel their feelings and have their reactions, and let's figure out how to work through it.
Yeah, I echo that. I see sometimes there's a reluctance for the patients to even be referred to dermatologists because there's not a good understanding of what the tools are for treatment. Sometimes gets bucketed as a cosmetic issue that doesn't necessarily warrant long-term treatment. And I think we're flipping the script on that. We are educating our colleagues outside of the medical field and within the medical field. And again, keeping that voice going and the conversation going is an important piece of that.
Yeah, and today is a great example of that. It's an opportunity to educate the public. And more people are becoming educated, but there's still a long road to go. I've been really happy to see that my daughter, some of the video games that she's playing, she has vitiligo avatars. And so she proudly picks one because she looks up to her older cousin. And so I think we've come a long way, though we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I think, and let's go a little bit deeper on this advocacy and where we see that going and how we can bring this conversation even more to the forefront. If you had a magic wand and you could do something to kind of really increase or amplify the conversation, what would you do?
I think for us, it's centering patients in all that we do and ensuring that patients are included in the research, patients are included on those committees, because without their voice, it's really difficult and impossible to come up with treatment plans and solutions to it. So I think remembering to center the patient always is important.
Well, I think I'm just echoing what I said in reference to that too, but I think we're really still very bad as a healthcare system, and I'm talking about across the world, at valuing impact of disease, right? They have this committee over here that's the bottom line drug dollars committee, and there's no, when you can't show up for work, when you have to spend an hour putting makeup on, when you have to clothing, those are all things that have weight and value in life. And they're not less important, and that somebody else doesn't get it, doesn't matter for you. We're bad at that. So to me, I think that breadth of understanding that human beings that experience responses, emotions to physical realities in their life, that has weight and value, and we need to those are valid things to treat. In dermatology, you were just talking about, it's a cosmetic. a whole bunch of our things have cosmetic, visible impact. That does not make them unimportant, not autoimmune diseases, not significant to treat. So that's, and we've started to hear those things in a lot of places. We're having similar discussions in alopecia areata, though I will say that vitiligo specifically, and this is something I've been very, very active and vocal about, it is like I love sitting in benefit manager rooms and telling them that not covering treatments for vitiligo is just racist. It has an outsized impact on people with more deeply pigmented skin, has an impact on everybody. It may have an impact on everybody, but that is not a thing that's okay. And that's, I'm trying to use that as a wedge to sort of say, you have to. It's just not okay not to. Oh, they didn't like that.
But it's true, right? There's all these sort of other things to measure before we when we look at the bigger picture of humans, right? We have all these different elements. So we've got 5 minutes until the Q&A. So I'd like to go down and ask all of you. You know, you all work at the intersection of science and humanity, right? And what's one lesson, if you could give any one lesson for someone to sort of have as a takeaway or a final thought you want to share with everybody here and everyone joining us virtually, what would it be?
Oh, I think hands down, like there's hope. There's hope for a better tomorrow. There's treatments in the pipeline, and continue sharing your voice, your stories, no matter what that story looks like, because we need to hear them all.
I'll say, advocate to your doctor, advocate to your dermatologist. It can feel like the visits are quick, but maybe there's an elevator pitch for your dermatologist if there's something that you really want to discuss, agenda set, and bring it up with us. We're on your team. We want to see improvement and treatment success, and that means many different things. It means quality of life improvement, improvement in your mental health, improvement in your skin. It's really a composite. So the bottom line here, and one thing I wish for, is to be comfortable with advocating for yourself.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I would say is that what you feel is right, and what you feel now may not be what you feel in a week or a month or a year, but you deserve those feelings. But I feel like my tool, our role rather, is to help. If what you feel is not what you want to feel, or if you need help with that, there is help, and all those things, agenda setting, having hope, are tools, and we are on the same team.
Wow, this has been such a great discussion. And so now I'd like to open it up to anyone here that wants to ask any questions to the entire panel, to one of them. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, we've been taking questions on Slido.
Oh, amazing.
There's actually several questions that have come through.
Great.
So we'll start with our first one, which is, are you seeing your patients or your members talking about vitiligo differently than they did in the past?
Good question.
I'm curious about the members question, because with patients, I suspect people identify themselves as patients by coming to doctors, right? So I think nobody's forcing people to come, but have you perceived a shift in that?
I would say there's more interest in connecting with community. So I think for people in the vitiligo community, they're looking to speak with other people and talk about their journeys and learn about other people's journeys and just connecting through that community. So I would say yes, an increase for sure.
There is definitely more curiosity. Like, patients are asking questions about new therapies. Sometimes they have friends on it from their community. And I am seeing more patients because there's sort of that patient-driven approach to us as specialists.
I think there's also, I always see this kind of eyes down, eyes up, like the thing that hope does is it's okay. This is yet another medical visit that's going to be disappointing. There's buzz, and so there's, a little more like, especially with kids and adolescents, I think there's a little more of, okay, there's something that may be on the horizon. So that's a shift.
Do you have any more?
Several.
Oh, great.
The next one, obviously all the questions are addressed for everybody on the panel, but I think, Dr. Mandich, this is particularly addressed to you. It's very direct.
All right.
How can I be happy with my vitiligo?
Ooh.
Good luck.
So time's up. So one of the things, so when I first got into happiness research, I used to study childhood obesity. And in the second year of my PhD, I learned that happiness was a thing. And so when I got into it, I started evaluating my life and asking those questions like, Jillian, are you as happy as you possibly could be? And I was like, I don't like feeling sad. I don't like feeling depressed. I don't like feeling anxious. And so my goal when I first started my PhD, I was this like naive grad student. And I thought my goal is just figure out how to get rid of all those emotions and just be happy all the time. I quickly learned, like I talked about earlier, we can't be happy all the time. And happiness is not something that you get and you hold, right? It's not a destination. It's not like, if you think about the happiest moment or one of the happiest moments you've had in your life, it's not a permanent state, right? And so the way I think about happiness is it's not something that we arrive at. It's not something that we get and we keep. The way I see happiness is it's like a practice. And so what I mean by that is that would anyone in this room leave this conference or joining us virtually, go to the gym, have the best workout of your life, leave, take out your phone, text your friend or your partner and say, I just had the best workout of my life, I've reached fitness? Would anyone do that? No, right? Because what do we understand? If we want to be fit and healthy, what do we have to do? We have to move our body on a regular basis for our entire life. It's a practice. And so that's how I see happiness. So it's not about being happy with it. It's about practicing it and doing things every single day to, do things that you enjoy and to know that it's not like this end point. I think that was a really big shift. And it's a lot of it, our happiness comes down to our mindset and our perspective. And that too comes down to, I sort of think about happiness like a muscle. So if you go into the gym and you do like one bicep curl, it's like not changing your life, right? But if you go over and over and over again, what happens? You get stronger, right? And so the way I see happiness is like a muscle, and how we practice it regularly is we do things to build that muscle. And so if we look at our life and we want to be happy, then what are the things that we can do that make us happy to put in those reps? And they're not big things. When we think of our total capacity for happiness, it's really about these micro moments. And as we start to do the walk on the harbor front after this, or I normally bring my dog Jocko with me everywhere. He's a little French bulldog, but it's too hot for him today. But like taking him for a walk or spending time with friends, these things, they start to grow that muscle and it transfers into every area of your life. So I think instead of asking this big, impossible question of how do I be happy, it's what is something I can do today to bring me joy today, and keep asking that question, because over time your muscle starts to grow. Yeah. Anyone want to add anything to that?
I mean, that's a great answer. I just to sort of echo, I think like that is a loaded question, right? Like how to be happy with my vitiligo. And for everyone, that answer is going to be unique and different at any time point in their life. But I go back to community, like you're talking about those micro moments. It's leaning back into your community. And we're so lucky that we have patient advocacy programs and support tools to help our patients find that voice in that community. So I would encourage this person who asked the question to reach out to their community.
And I just want to add one thing. I love that you brought that up, because the longest running happiness study in the world is still underway. It's being done at Harvard. It's called the Harvard Study of Adult Development. And it's been going on for almost 80 years. So it's a longitudinal study. And the current lead investigator, his name is Dr. Robert Waldinger. And he just published a book last year. And they've had a lot of data coming out. And the punchline of this book, and I'm not ruining it for anyone, it's called The Good Life if you want to read it, is that the number one predictor of both our long-term health and our happiness is social connection. So above how much money we have, our age, our race, our gender, our education level, above all of those things, social connection is number one. And so I think sometimes we can get busy, and one of the first things to drop off our to-do list is spending time with family. Or it's like, you're tired at the end of the day, do you really want to go out and meet your friends, right? We've all been there. But knowing that the most powerful, potent thing you can do is find your community, invest in your community, be a part of your community. I love that you brought that up. Okay.
Right. The next question we have is, how can the advocacy and medical community work together to increase the bedside manner and understanding of the actual impacts of vitiligo on patients? Which I think is a little related to what you were saying a moment ago, Dr. Tacker, is it's community, right? It's like coming together.
Yeah, I think, you know, in a healthcare system that is very much underserviced, right? Like we only have 700 dermatologists for 40 million Canadians. There is a real shortage, and that can sometimes translate into quick appointments that feel rushed. I think patient advocacy groups supplement that, and I think they also kind of, maybe this is the wrong way to say it, but I think they kind of hold us accountable, right? They bring attention to some issues that we traditionally have not considered. I think we're focusing more and more on the mental health effects of certain inflammatory diseases, including vitiligo, and that's, I think of it as like a tug and pull. We're working together, and we're also pushing companies to develop drugs in this space as a need for our patients.
Yeah, and I think we can work together. So post-dermatology appointment, you know, referring people to a support group to provide some extra care in the mental health space that goes beyond what the treatment will look like. And so I think we can be an extension of that care program after you leave the office of the doctor.
But also, I mean, I think my first answer to that question was, I think you're looking at it. At least this for me is really significant. When my kids were little, you'd sometimes listen to them talking in the room, and you'd learn things when they didn't know you were listening about where their brains really were. I think we have a very specific interaction with people living with vitiligo, but I feel like I got invited into a community to sort of listen along and really hear the conversations, concerns, needs. So that's going to, in having these conversations, that's going to change how I come to them. And then when I talk to my colleagues, sort of focusing on some of those conversations, distilling those concepts down to really try and make those interactions, that interface, more fruitful for everybody.
All right.
We're all done.
We're done. Oh my goodness. Time flies. Well, thank you all so much. This was such a great conversation.
So I think a couple of you came just not too long ago, so you probably didn't see what we were doing today. And just to give you some context, normally when you're a speaker, people give you gifts, right? Sometimes it's socks, sometimes it's a pen. Yeah, you clearly need socks. Purple socks, anyone? But what we saw was that there's, statistically, there should be about 400,000 Canadians with vitiligo, right? About 1% of the population, probably more. However, there are not enough recognitions and awards and distinctions for people who actually contribute to the community to drive compassion, awareness, and innovation, which is something we need to do more of so that we can encourage more involvement into the community, so that we can grow it and we can do more World Vitiligo Days. And so instead of giving you a pen or a mug, we are inviting you to what we're calling the Order of World Vitiligo Day Canada. Thank you for your contribution. It's truly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Let's do the pictures.
How was that for our closing roundtable? Pretty good, right? So, regrettably, World Vitiligo Day 2025 is about to come to an end, but before we get there, I would like to invite Jan Valle back on stage to make an announcement about next year's World Vitiligo Day.
Well, after much deliberation, the final round came to two cities. It was Florence and Chandigarh in India. And Chandigarh is getting the title of the next World Vitiligo Day headquarters. And why Chandigarh? Actually, it's the city the birthplace of the World Vitiligo Day, but not not the World Vitiligo Day, it's a National Vitiligo Day in India. It was set there in 2009 by a researcher from the university, and that inspired us and showed us that this is actually a good example of what's possible. And now we're coming back to pay tribute to this historic city. So Chandigarh, we're coming. It's going to be legendary.
So I want to make a couple of acknowledgements. First and foremost, thank you for all of you for joining us today. World Vitiligo Day really took a very large community and a lot of support from a lot of different groups coming together. And there are a lot of volunteers who made this together. So could we please give a round of applause to everyone who contributed to today? Secondly, you might notice that tonight the CN Tower, right, and the Toronto 3D sign will be purple. It's lit for VIT, and thanks to the great work from Vitiligo Voices Canada and driving a lot more across the country, it will be purple everywhere. So tonight, enjoy the view. It's going to be a blast. So when we started planning this event with Jan, I think it was a while ago, it was a tremendous process. And what we thought was that World Vitiligo Day had to be more than just a singular event. We always had the intention that World Vitiligo Day should be a catalyst for Canadians with vitiligo. All that is to say, there's a lot more to come. And so with that, could I invite you all to come up front and we take a group photo together to commemorate World Vitiligo Day 2025 in Canada? Let's do it. Any way you want. The photographer will tell us. Whatever works. Yeah? Okay, yeah. I just hope this doesn't...